I want to give you 7 tips on how to face your due date. I am no expert at this, but these are things that have worked for me. And I'm also going to share my experiences of the due date we just walked through of our daughter, Paisley Grace. So we're going to get to that. All that coming up right now.
Sometimes life's biggest storms give you the most beautiful rainbows. We are chasing rainbows.
Hi, welcome back to Chasing Rainbows. My name's Christina. If I haven't met you before, I'm so glad that you're here. And while you're at it, make sure to subscribe because we've got great content coming up here on this channel. If you haven't watched any of the videos before, we are talking a lot about miscarriages right now as I'm walking through my third. In fact, today's video is all about that, facing your baby's due date. That is no easy task, and every time I've gone through it, I think, oh, I can do this. This isn't so bad. And then I actually get there and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. This is really bad. But I want to give you 6 tips. Actually, take that back. 7 tips on how to get through that. And also, I want to share my own experiences of how this past due date went. All right, so starting off, my experiences. First, I would say the first due date of any baby, no matter if it's your first miscarriage or if it's your 7th, they don't get any easier. They're always just as hard. Each baby is precious. You don't love one more than another. And honestly, I don't know if the length of time really necessarily lessens the pain. Maybe it does for some, but for me, I don't know that it really did. This was really hard, losing our last little girl at 18 weeks. That was not easy. But the first due date, I would compare it to like going to a funeral. It can kind of hit you hard, especially if you're sitting in denial or you're trying to avoid your feelings or pain before your due date, and which is usually what I do. Not a good plan, just saying. But it's not always easy to want to deal with your feelings, to want to face the reality of them being gone. And as soon as that day rolls around on the calendar, it kind of hits you that they are gone. They're not coming. You start thinking about all the things that would be going on right now. Like, would I be in labor, or would I already have her? Would I be holding her in my arms? Would I be changing her diaper? Would I be rocking her to sleep? All those things that you're wondering what would have been like. And then you're left with the reality of what is. And that's really hard because you think, how do I move on? How do I go on from here? Really difficult things to deal with. I think after the due date passes, often can feel harder in a way, or at least it does for me. Like, for a brief period, it feels harder because it is that reality hitting you in the face. So like, give yourself grace during that time. It's not easy. But I think like my experience with the other 2 that we lost earlier on a few years ago, we always make a point to celebrate their birthdays, which would be their due date for feeding, obviously. But we always celebrate them. In fact, we've made traditions. We like to visit new places every time and kind of make good memories with them in mind. It's like taking them with us in a sense. At first, I was trying to just go to the same place. I had that set in my mind, like, we're gonna pick a spot and this is where we're gonna go, and it's gonna be our tradition, and we go back there every year, kind of like visiting a grave. but everything kind of got in the way of doing that. Like something would come up, and my husband is the one that really thought of this plan. Like maybe we should go somewhere new every time and do something that we think we would have liked to have taken them to do. So we've gone to new parks, we've gone to museums, we've gone camping, we've bought hammocks, we've gone to the zoo, and not the zoo by us, we've traveled to go to a zoo, and we've made some really, really good memories out of it. And there are moments that as a family, we store those memories as memories with them, or memories where we know who it was about, the reason of why we went to those places, which makes it just really special. And each time that we go do that, we always have a couple added things that we do on birthdays versus just the due date. We always get a balloon to release, just like we do on the first one. So we release a balloon every year, but we also started making it a tradition to order them a cake that's suited to the year that they would be. So first birthday, second birthday, so on. I don't know if that's a healthy tradition to keep since we're the only ones eating the cake, but don't judge me. I like cake. Anyways, so off subject. But those moments, as hard as they've been at times, because there's always a part where it's a little hard. Especially, I have a hard time releasing the balloon. I have a hard time riding on the balloon. And I actually did find that I think the hardest part for me is, this sounds bad, but doing it with my family members there is sometimes hard, because I feel like I want to talk to them privately and I want to say my own thing that I don't necessarily want to share with everybody else. So sometimes I will go release a separate balloon on my own. I'll just take an hour and I'll go somewhere else, and I will go and talk to my baby, and I may or may not write something on the balloon. But it feels nice to just have that moment alone, and not everybody's like that, but I am definitely more of a private person for the most part. So doing this is little out of the box for me. It's very uncommon, in fact. But I feel like it's important to talk about, because there's not enough really shared, I don't think, and it makes you feel alone. And so that's really hard. And if you're feeling like that, go back and watch the previous video. I'll put the link up here. But yeah, definitely make a point to do what's best for you. And anyways, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, so let's talk about the 7 tips I have for when you're facing your due date. So number 1, and I think this is so important, and it's really hard to do, but tell people your due date's coming up. Ask them to remember your due date and pray for you on that day. Pray for you leading up to that date. Ask to be prayed for the week. There is not enough prayer. Like, you need the prayer, you need support, you need that love. And you know what, if you have, you'll know who your true friends are when it comes to moments like this, that it's really hard to walk through. And I actually want to really compliment and say thank you to a couple of my friends. I had some really unexpected surprises. One on the actual due date, which I was stunned, but I found these beautiful flowers and a card on my door from a good friend, and just telling me that she's praying for me and thinking of me, and wrote a verse in there, and it just meant so much to me. Like, I can't even explain how much that meant. And I also had a friend, this wasn't on the due date, but still very special. I had a friend give us this little elephant, and there's actually meaning attached with elephants, which she didn't even know about for us. that's another story, another time, another place. But I had talked to her about how we wanted to get Paisley's name engraved on something, and how my daughter Jayla desperately wanted her name put on like a blanket or a lovey, which she went and picked out both of those. We both got those. But she took it upon herself to actually put Paisley's name on there and wrote "Forever in Our Hearts," which was really special. And my daughter, she hasn't let this elephant go, which she's not here right now, so I took it out of her room. But she adores that. So thank you to both of you, and for my other friends who have sent me encouraging texts or emails, or just asked if they could stop by and just give me a hug and nothing else, or have offered to make meals, or just do really nice, really kind, really thoughtful things that I didn't expect, or just the simple fact of I'm praying for you and I'm thinking of you means so much. I probably will make another video about how to care for someone who's been through a miscarriage, even if you haven't been through one yourself. So, tips of what to say or do and what not to do. Other video. Stay tuned for that. Alright, so one was tell people prior to your due date and ask for prayer. 2, cancel all obligations. All your plans, if you're working, take it off. And I wouldn't just call in sick. I actually was quite honest with my boss prior with other due dates. I didn't have that issue this time because I haven't been working because of the concussion I'm going through. But that could be a person that you tell if you feel comfortable with it. But if they already knew that you were expecting a child, they probably already knew the due date, tell them that it's going to be a struggle and that you need that day. Most people, if they have any kind of a soul, are going to understand that you might need that day off. Also, ask your spouse to do the same. This is one I was not sure about doing because I felt kind of guilty asking for my husband to stay home with me, but I'm really, really glad that I did. I didn't know how much I actually really needed him by my side all day, and it would have been hard having him gone, and it probably would have been harder for me to get out of the house to go and release a balloon. It was just nice to have my whole family together, cuddling on the couch. We spent most of the day in our jammies, and we didn't go out, I think, to release the balloon until after 4 o'clock. And actually, the balloon was not released. That's when we just left for the park. We left to go get the balloon, and then we went to the park, and then we took time walking around the park, and we like to pick out the perfect spot of where we want to release the balloon. So we did that. But yeah, definitely don't plan things. Even if you think you're going to be fine, you think you feel fine, you might get to that day and find yourself a hot mess. And you don't want to be a hot mess at work. Nobody you work with wants you to be a hot mess at work. Trust me, they'd rather you take the day off. One day is not going to kill anybody. So do that. Seriously. 3, don't treat it just like it's another day, because it's not. Even if your denial tells you it is, or you think you're going to feel better if you just keep things as normal so you don't have to think about it, you'll think about it. Trust me. And you'll probably have regrets that you didn't stay home to take care of yourself. Definitely cancel the obligations. And yeah, don't act like it's another day. It's not. It's not. So number 2 will help with number 3. If you've already canceled your obligations, then you don't have to worry about that. And as hard as it may be to make any plans, I personally think it's healthy to not just sit inside the house the entire day. At least leave your house for an hour, if nothing else. But that kind of leads us to number 4. 4 is make your own traditions. Find something special to do to commemorate the day. could be releasing a balloon like we do. It could be releasing butterflies. It could be buying a memorial lantern and just lighting the lantern for the day. We also have those too for our other babies. I haven't picked one out for Paisley yet, but we will be doing that at some point. I just haven't found one that we really liked. I didn't want to get one just for the heck of it. But it's really important to make those traditions, and you can make them happy memories, like I explained what we do with picking new places to travel in their memory. So do that. Okay? And this also kind of piggybacks on number 5. 5 is don't over plan. Stay flexible and keep it focused on self-care. And I say this from experience because there have been days where I had the whole day planned out, back to back to back. This is what we're gonna do. I wanna go here. I wanna go do this. I wanna do that. And then everything seemed to work against us. Like literally we were gonna run out of gas. The gas station we went to, the credit card thing shut down and they couldn't even take cash. We went to go get food while they were trying to fix the gas problem, and it took us like 45 minutes to get fast food. Basically, if it could go wrong, it did go wrong. And then one of the places that I wanted to go, we sat on the freeway for like 2 hours for what should have only taken us about 30 minutes. So, prepare to be flexible. Do not plan too much. If you have like one thing that's really important to you, and do that. And anything else is a bonus. That's how I see it. And being flexible for me, if you know me, really hard. I am a planner, I'm a control freak, and this due date was the total opposite for me. I actually decided the only thing I want to do is release a balloon, and I didn't decide where, I didn't decide when. I made no plans for what else we were going to do throughout the day. I let my husband plan the rest. I asked him if he would take it on him to pick the place that we would go, and we would just pick up the balloon on the way. And you know what? Things worked out really well. So, even with picking out the balloon. So, good things can come if you don't overthink it. So don't overthink it. So number 6. This may sound weird, but consider taking family photos or videos. And by that, I mean, obviously your baby's not actually there with you, but we don't do this every single time. But we have made it a point to sometimes take pictures with the balloon we're going to release before we release it, or taking video when we are releasing the balloon, or even just taking photos at the place we go to visit, not specifically with something like the balloon in the picture or the video. But doing that, those have been the most precious, the most cherished photos that we have in our house, because it feels like we have our full family with us. It feels like even though they're not in the picture, we know why we took that picture and we know what that picture is about. So something about that just really gives me comfort. I like having photos of them, like beyond just pregnancy photos. I think it's special to still have ongoing memories like that of them. So that could be something you do or don't do. Depends on what you're comfortable with. But for me personally, I have loved it. I don't necessarily love it in the moment, and I get kind of frustrated, and maybe everything with the camera goes wrong. But even if you get one good picture or one good video, it might be worth it. So think about doing that. Or maybe even ask, if you really have somebody you really trust, ask, come on, me, sorry. ask them to follow you and take photos from a distance. You could do that. That's something I have not tried yet. I have not been brave enough to ask that. But you may have a friend that's really good that would be willing to do something like that and kind of also respect your privacy at the same time and not invade your space. So, something to consider. All right, last but not least, number 7, bring an item for comfort. You're gonna feel sad, and I don't know if you're like me, but when I'm feeling down, there are just some things I just have to have with me to make me feel better. One, for me, comfy clothes. I like having that nice snuggly jacket or coat or something warm. Maybe not conducive if it's summertime, but you get the idea. Having a cozy blanket with you waiting in the car. Maybe taking like a little lovey with you. This was a little lovey that I got for Paisley, so I had that in the car. You could take, if you have a REBORN doll, you could take a REBORN doll with you. I did not, only because she looks so real that I honestly was afraid to ride with her on my lap in the car. And I don't have a car seat, so I didn't want to get pulled over or get weird looks from people, so I didn't take her with me. Plus, I was worried that she would get damaged or something, and I didn't need to be twice as sad over something like that. So I didn't, but you could. And maybe there's other things that make you feel comfortable too, like maybe it's scents too, like putting on lavender lotion, or I have a lavender rice pack that a friend made for me, actually the same friend that brought me the flowers. She made me a rice pack for the concussion, and I've kept it in my freezer, and I pull it out when I'm not feeling well and put that on, and I love it. So, I don't know, you think of your own things. Those are just things that worked for me. So, not an expert, but I've gone through it a few times, and if I can do anything that helps you feel prepared or maybe eases your anxiety because you're just not sure what to expect, I really hope this did something like that for you, because I know for me personally, that first due date, never walking through one before, was really hard, really scary, really overwhelming, and I just felt like I couldn't move on. I felt so stuck, and I didn't even want to leave the house to raise a balloon. And I remember something my dear sweet husband said to me before we left the house that day, because I really did not want to go. And I said the words to him that I don't want to say goodbye. I don't want to let go. And he told me, letting go of the balloon is not saying goodbye. You can't lose them twice. This is just saying hello. And that has stuck with me. And I tell myself that every time. And when I can't listen to myself, he reminds me again. This is just saying hello. You don't want to miss out on saying hello. And trust me, you don't. It's always a special memory, even though it's a hard memory. So, don't miss out. Don't have regrets. Don't run away from your pain, even if you think it's going to be too hard to face. Have loving support with you, people that will walk through it with you and love you all along the way and hold you when you cry and be there to wipe the tears. And it's worth it. It really is. I can honestly say that after having done it, even though I thought I could not do it again. It was worth it. They are worth it. And they deserve to hear from their mamas, not just their other family members. So go raise that balloon, or release some butterflies, or plant a flower, but say hello. Find that special way, something that feels meaningful to you and gives you a lasting memory, a good memory. and it's not goodbye. And he's right. You can't lose them twice. They're already gone, so you might as well go and say hello. With that, we're going to wrap up this video. Thanks so much for watching. Sorry, my dog Brody is snoring once again. Seems to be tradition. Apparently I'm boring. I hope you don't think that though. And if you don't think that, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell. Also remember to follow me on Instagram. My channel's listed right up above me. But do that so you can see what's going on in between videos. And also you can connect with me there. But be sure to leave those comments down below. Let me know what things you want to hear about, or if you have questions, you have comments. You can also suggest your own traditions. What is your tradition? If you've gone through this before, tell somebody, because maybe somebody else needs an idea. Maybe you have a better idea than what I've come up with. I'd love to know. So, look forward to hearing your suggestions, and I look forward to chasing more rainbows with you. Thanks for watching. Bye. Are we going to make it through this one, maybe? I don't know. All right. What up? Not even my dog wants to sit with me. Too germy for you? I'm sorry I coughed on you. Will you come back? Is he gonna come back? I'm not getting up. Okay, I'm doing it alone. Whatever. Thanks for watching today's video. Before you leave, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell. Also, follow me over on Instagram at Chasing Rainbows channel. That way you can see what I'm up to between videos.